Hey guys, WheatyWaffle here today, and we are back in the city of Westfield. In the last part, we created that massive suburban expansion, and we set out all of the road work for that and put in all of our services. So now in this part, we're going to actually go in and begin to fill in that area, figure out what the public transit looks like. Oh, look at our zoo. It looks so good. Look at those giraffes. And just make sure that that area is totally filled out. So let's actually get out of this view here. Here is our new area. Now there's going to be lots of issues. No one has power, and everyone is complaining. We're going to be losing a lot of money probably for the next little bit because all of these buildings in here cost us money to run. So we should go ahead and get started just so that we're not wasting any time. So let's go ahead and add in a suburban looking line here. We could even think about kind of connecting all of this up in advance. What if we went and turned this off and just gave all of this power? This particular power line doesn't really take up too much space, so it might be nice to kind of have this throughout. You see that it only removes the zoning on the areas where the actual power line sits, which is great. And then let's actually bring this over and down. Since all of this is a residential area, I don't mind having... turn off anarchy just so that we don't get anything funky. I don't mind having these the power lines kind of cutting through areas. It's going to make it look a little bit more realistic, and like this area actually is a suburban type area. Okay, so all this is connected. Let's do one down here as well. We'll even bring this right in, and maybe we'll bring it along the back so that it kind of cuts through the middle. We'll ditch that guy. Okay, so all that's connected. Let's get this side connected. So for this one, we might even just come along here. We try to keep it behind the houses, and then this one can come just straight along here. Okay, so now everything is connected. That all looks good. Let's begin to get some zoning down. Every district in this area is set up as European suburbia. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention. In the comments, I was asking what we should name some of these areas, and ZEFRB recommended we change the name of this park right next to Park to Park. So this is Park, the tourist destination of your dreams, right next to Park. One thing I do want to go in, before we get people in here, before we really fill this area out, I do want to add some vehicle restrictions to this road here. I'm okay with this area being able to fill this particular section, but I don't want people using this road on Adams Street to come all the way through and maybe bypass the intended route for them to come to the airport. So what I'm going to change here is this particular road here. I'm actually going to end up creating this as just a service road. I want to ban cars, and I want to ban trucks. We'll keep the taxis, we'll keep the public transit vehicles, the service vehicles, and the SOS vehicles. We want to add this apply vehicle restrictions to the entire road. Great, and it only does this bit. Okay, so now this road here is more of a service road, which has a power line right in between it, which we don't want. It's more of a service road, and I'm even going to just kind of change its look. We'll keep the tree line. I think that looks nice, but I want to make sure it looks has sidewalks and areas for people to walk, and instead of it looking as suburban as these assets here. Okay, so now people are going to have to go and use the correct avenue to get through, since this road is now limited to just services. So let's go ahead and get into some zoning. So all of this will be low residential, low density, as well as the business in the middle. Now we know that we want this center area to be all zoned with businesses. I'm going to keep this side here probably clear for now. I haven't decided what we're going to do over here. And then we'll also fill in this section here, as well as maybe do a little bit on this edge around the fire station. And then I think for the rest of this, like, I'm going to be doing a lot of residential throughout this whole area. So let's see. We'll use this fill tool for now. All of this is obviously going to be residential. All of these squares Let's maybe do just these ones here. We'll fill in this whole area. I'm not going to put anybody on this main road just yet. I think there's tons of opportunities here for zoning, and we don't need to really cram them in just yet. Look at all those people. They must be coming from the airport or the train. That's why we got to set up our bus lines today. So let's go ahead. I think actually for this area, we're going to start pulling these back. The houses will be a little bit smaller along here. I don't want anything too extravagant. Just tiny houses that back into the plane. And then this area here will fill all of this. We'll leave those and we'll fill in these guys here. I like to kind of, I don't like these one tile areas. I'm not a fan of what the houses look like, at least with the European suburbia. I think they're too small. And then when you have a one tile next to like a 4x4, it just doesn't fit, I think, correctly in the way that I want this area to look. So we're going to try to avoid filling in any of those really strange shaped, like these guys. We're just going to skip those. We don't need those for now. All right, so this area is going to be a little bit loud with all these planes, but look at the, oh, great clearance. Great clearance. It's going to suck if you live in that area, but it is what it is. That looks nice. We've got some good zoning. We've left some spaces too, which I think will be great for people and connectivity. I do want to also, while we're sitting here and letting this fill in, I want to go in and put down some pathways so that we can kind of connect everybody up. Oh, and these new, oh, sorry, these are the new keys. Hold on. Which, speaking of new keys, this particular one, the city key wall, look at this. I'm not like going to actually put it here, but like say we had this right here along the water. Look at how it, like, the water comes up to it. Oh my God, it just looks so good. I'm a huge fan. Like, I want to go back. Oh, that was the sky. I want to go back maybe like along here. I don't know. There's so much. These bring so many different options. I'm so excited. I can't even speak. They bring so many different options to what we can do and so much customization. Oh, it's the best. I love my mods. I do, but I also love when I can just have something native to the game. So I'm really excited about all of that. So let's go ahead and add in some paths. I'm just going to use the standard default path. Nothing too crazy. We're gonna bring, I want to get rid of the zoning back here. I kind of want to have some kind of maybe parking lot here for everyone who works at the high school, or the elementary school. Comes right up against their house, which isn't ideal. Here, you guys can have a few more trees. Let's increase the strength here. This area can be filled now that we've got some houses in here. Do we want to connect these together? Not necessarily. I would love some kind of connection here for people who need to go to the high school. I also would love a connection over this direction. Can I squeeze a connection in here that maybe doesn't interfere? I'm going to have to break down a house over here somewhere, and that's okay. There we go. As long as it connects to the roundabout, which it does, then we're all set. This here is nice. Let's do a connection to this road. It can just be straight, honestly. It doesn't need to be too extravagant. Connecting that together. And then I wouldn't mind maybe slinking one if we can. We're going to lose a touch of zoning, but that's okay. Perfect. Okay, so we've got some better connections through here. We could even do some throughout this area, but instead of putting paths, since we have, I don't anticipate tons of traffic in this area. Oh, great, find it updated. Love that. I don't anticipate tons of traffic in this area, so I'm actually going to make sure we have ample trees in here. So this is the short pine. There was another tree I wanted, I just can't remember which one it was. But let's go ahead and just fill some of these gaps with trees, make it feel very full. That's one of the things I think I like most about the European suburbia style of houses. all of them have trees and things built into their lots. Man, words. Built into their lots. And so it just looks a lot more realistic and it looks a lot more full. Okay, so now we have this area here. Maybe we'll give them a few of these guys. These are a little bit bigger. Okay, and all of you need workers. Not enough workers. 2 of 8 workers. And so now what we really need to fix this is people. Now, this is one of those things that I am not in love with. It's like one of my few complaints with this game is if we look here, we have people employed 39,000, jobs available 50,000. Yet the demand down here is for more commercial, not for more people, even though really we don't need more commercial. Our commercial is failing. It needs more humans. So we're going to go ahead and just fast forward this, let this go in 3 times speed. And what I'm going to quickly do is just fill out all of this with residential. We're not going to do the commercial just yet. I'm just going to go in and put down tons of residential and some paths. So we'll do that in a time lapse right now. Okay, so this area is now totally zoned in terms of residential. Now we're going to still do some more, like this whole neighborhood or portion here doesn't have any zoning, but I do want to kind of let some of this here fill out. And what I want to see happen, and we're going to just kind of monitor this as we go, but I want to see these numbers here, this 39,000 and this 50,000, get a little bit closer together. I would love for that to be probably around like 5,000 or so. I don't want to have too many available jobs without enough people to fill those positions. We are having a bit of a death wave. As you can see, it's kind of been moving slowly through the city, so it was affecting this area. It looks like that's kind of solved itself. This area is looking good. It looks like now it's mainly here in Cardona City. We're seeing a little bit left of the death wave here. Maybe that's the end of it. So now our population really should start climbing, which is going to be fantastic. Now this area does not have, let's go and check education. Let's click on one of these universities. This whole area over here does not have a university, nor does it really have a great connection other than train to our universities over here. So I would love to put down a university building over here. I think that this university, this traditional one, looks and feels probably more like what this area would want. So we have 2 options. We could put it back here near the high school, or I think what we might do is put it over here. Kind of closer to the avenue, closer to the different public transit connections we have here. And then I want to give just a bit of detailing around it. So let's click on grid. We're going to kind of come right on back behind it. We'll do one connection straight on through. And then I want to bring connections. Let's back you up. We're just going to bring this kind of too far forward. Actually, we might leave that. That looks pretty nice. It gives this like very interesting connection area over here. And then in addition to this, I do want to put in some kind of facility of some type. We might just do these here. I think they're fine. We're going to do something a little different here. We're going to place down 3 kind of over top of each other. I know that's not ideal. And then we're going to move them so that they fit in this area nicely. And then to kind of disguise what we've just done, let's turn on prop and tree anarchy. That way you can focus. When you're playing tennis, you can just focus on playing some tennis. Don't have to worry about all the noise. And we have good connections in terms of parking over here. We've got this train station here, and we've got the plane station here, airport here. Let's move on to buses. If we can increase the connectivity in here and not have to worry about people needing public transit, their private vehicles, they'll use public transit instead. So I want to go ahead and put down, let's do this Biofuel Bus Depot. We're going to put it over this area close to our airport. Might even be along this road here. I think that'll be just fine. And then let's grab bus lines and think about the connections we want to make. So we already have this connection here with the trains, which does not actually extend all that way. So let's just quickly solve that. Now all these poor people who've been waiting for this train are now just going to have to flood out. It's okay, guys. I've reinstated it if you're interested. Now, let's look at buses. We have this connection now, but I do think we could fit some additional connections in between. I don't understand what's going on with this area and the lack of zoning in here, or the lack of people moving to this area. It's very confusing. Everything else is filling in except for this spot. I don't know why. So, buses. This is the loading area for our train. I want to have a bus line here, and I want this bus line to, let's think. I would like one that kind of comes over and connects through Park and maybe comes back to this area. So if we're here, let's bring it down maybe to this area here. We'll bring it into Park. We will bring it down here to this area here. Would we want to come all the way over? That's a little crazy. So why don't we share this particular stop, and we'll share this stop. Just kind of connecting things up a bit more. We'll connect to those two because they're kind of far apart. We can come down this area. It'll come up this direction. I was going to go that way. Let's bring it back up and around. It'll come into here. It'll connect over to this side of things. It will then come over and maybe share a spot with itself. Coming back and connect on in. It's nothing too fancy. It's a little weird, but it's just something to kind of connect these two areas together. I'm going to add an additional stop here just to kind of encourage some more development in this area. This time, actually, we'll have it stop in front of the airport on the return and connect back in. It's a little crazy, but I want to have something trying to connect all these areas together. So that one's going to be the wild one. Now what I want to do is I want to have a bus line. I definitely want it to go around this roundabout area, this like long curved road. So we'll bring it there. We'll bring it onto this block. It's going to then also come up onto this block. Come up to here. Come up to here. Maybe to the right to the street. Would I want to connect it to any of this? No, you can easily transfer from here to here or vice versa if you'd like. So now we're going to bring this back over this direction. It's going to stop here. Stop once more around this loop and come back to here. And then this one is going to avoid that loop but stop here instead, kind of helping service a few of these buildings. Come up. Our next one's up this way, so we're going to bring that one down just a bit so it's not right after the curve. This one can stay right in the middle. This one here is we'll keep it right there in the middle and move this guy here. So now we have this one kind of servicing this pocket. We'll need another one that services the rest of this. So let's bring one from here. Let's create a new line. This new line is going to start here. It'll come over just like that other set has done here, but then it's going to cut over this direction. And I think cut up, over again, and come back down. with the similar one coming around it, but this one, instead of sharing the stop, will maybe go in front of this park, then come over here and share alongside of this line. So a little bit smaller. They're nothing too crazy or too far reaching, but I want to make people move around within these areas and have easy ways to get to the train besides just their paths. So we can kind of get everyone in here looped up together. Everyone can get on the bus. They can all get off at this stop and then walk this path and be at the train station in no time. Might even make sense to move this up here instead. Why don't we do that? Why don't we move those higher? And actually do the same with these. Hold on, we're gonna rework this a second. Let's bring these around so they're matching each other throughout, right? There's so many roads here. I almost want to make this come along this way instead. Okay, so that service is a bit more of a smaller area, but I think it's better coverage in that area. And then I want to do the same thing here, but with this set, I want to actually incorporate this university somehow. So let's go ahead and create a new line. We're going to share these stops for sure. We're going to bring this over this direction. Do we want to stop along this beachfront? Probably not. We're going to come over here. This road is the through road that comes up to here and joins in. Why don't we stop? Let's stop here because this area here is not going to get much more development, but there's connections throughout. So let's stop in the middle here because we know we'll have some kind of businesses or some set of business along that road. We'll bring this through and connect right off of the main road so that we don't mess up any of that traffic. Stopping in front of the university, and you started here, so let's go ahead and bring you to connect here as well. You'll do a quick turn and you'll connect over. Same with this. Okay, we've got bus lines set up in this area. Let me go in pretty quickly here. And I'm going to recolor all of our bus lines, rename some things, and get all of this set up appropriately. Okay, all of our buses are set up in this area. Let's turn off anarchy. All of our buses are set up. Everything here is looking great. Let's go ahead and quickly pause because there is pause. Let's pause. There is one thing we need to work on that I'm noticing is going to be a problem. We're getting some issues with water. So we're pulling some water from this edge here and we're pulling some water from here. Looks like we might be pulling a bit from up here as well. Oh, and this is a really, really old line I had when I was testing out my very first stream and just making sure all the audio sounded okay. Let's back this up. And I think to wrap this out, we're just going to check all of our services and make sure all that works well. But then I would really like to work on some kind of water treatment facility or some kind of plant area. We've been doing small fixes throughout here and there, but I haven't actually built like a proper facility. This here is just kind of stuck in the middle of this heavily trafficked area that I keep saying I'm going to come back to, but until I do, don't hold me to it. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to put one in here for now, just so that this problem is solved for the immediate, and then we will add in or take time in our next part, I think, just to kind of create the water treatment facility that this whole area really does need. Sewage wise, we're doing okay. Let's just make sure this gets powered on. Perfect. Okay, so that's just a little band-aid for now. It'll kind of hold things together. And actually, before we move on to the other services, while we're kind of moving and grooving, let's put in more people. So let's put in some corner stores throughout, just so that there are places for people to do some quick business if they need to. We might even go ahead. I don't want to do too much business zoning, but I will put in a bit. And maybe right here by the high school, right behind the high school, would be like a 7-Eleven or something like that. This is filling out so nicely. I'm really happy that we went with this suburbia look, with the European suburbia, and then just these roads. Like, this looks so good. Okay, services. Electricity, we're thriving. Sewage and water, we're holding it together. I wouldn't jump right to thriving. This area here does have an issue in terms of close or proximity to any kind of trash services. Let's quickly just throw down an avenue. It's going to come straight on out. Let's turn all of this stuff back on. This will come straight on out. We will be expanding over this direction anyway, so we'll be moving over here eventually. And I'm just going to bring this straight on up. So let's go ahead and put down this facility here. We'll face it along this road. I've never used this asset before, but I love how it looks. Very cool. And it's far enough away. I mean, actually, that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? There's our airport. Let's put this massive tower right in front of it. Okay, maybe another time. Let's do a few recycling centers for now. We know they work. They don't have too much traffic associated with them. We'll go ahead and put in 4. So that's all connected up, watered up. We're good to go there. We did all this. Let's now check, now that we have people here. Healthcare looks fine. Death care, lacking in this corner here. Let's give them just a little crematorium. Childcare, okay. We could, again, be doing better with this. Why don't we put a childcare center over here somewhere? If I anarchy this, the only thing in its way is technically that power line, which really isn't too much in the way. So we'll nestle that in there. And let me just shimmy it a bit to get rid of those extra trees. We have a elder care center there. Let's put one more over here and kind of fill out that area. Fire, nice. Police, okay. Decent. We'll take decent. University, we know we're good. Those people just haven't gone to university yet that live there, but that's because they're so new to the area. Elementary, we've got really decent coverage throughout. This area here is a bit dodgy, but we'll be okay. And high school, great availability. It's just really a matter of getting people there. But with the bus lines that we have set up, if you're living all the way over here, you can take a bus that goes down and over, and then you could take a second bus to come over to here, and you could walk at that point. Or if you wanted to take the third bus, you could. And now that I'm saying all that, this road does shoot all the way through. So what if we do one more bus line? So there's going to be a lot of buses in this area, but I will go back in between parts and just make sure that there's not too many buses on any one line, because if we start seeing backups, that'll be a problem. But I just want to give them the option to kind of cut right through everything if they need to. So now if you do live in this area, you can get on a bus that will take you all the way to this high school and vice versa, while also getting you from top to bottom, north to south. There will be some businesses along this road here against the waterfront, so we will want people to be able to get to and from these businesses up to these transportation centers, which we can do that with these buses, which is great. We did actually meet the requirements to put down the Eden project. In the comments below, let me know if you want me to build the Eden project. For those who don't know what it is, it basically will remove all pollution in our city and makes every single area of our city highly valuable. So if I click on this view here, where you can see the land value, downtown, immediate downtown, not high land value, but immediately surrounding the downtown, really high land values. This area here, Victoria Gardens has decent land value in Dale Park. There's around Bryant Park some good land values here, and then interspersed throughout North Linden Park, Hillside, and Highway. There are a few areas that are worth decent amount of money. You come over here where we have our farming industry, not really high land value. These buildings won't level up very easily. Again, St. John, not great. Cardona City, there's a lick of good land here, but then the most of it is okay. But then you get into these suburban areas, this new suburb right outside Cardona City, and it is expensive. Man, let me know if we should put that monument down. It looks a little funky and we'd have to figure out where it would fit best, but I think it would be interesting to see how it impacts the city and what it does in terms of our population. We're really starting to move. We're at 88,000 right now. And if we check our city statistics, we've kind of been going all over the place with the death wave that we had, which you can see right here. So we were up at our highest at 86, fell to about 83-ish. It looks like was the lowest I saw there. And now we're at 87. And it looks like we're actually at 88.5. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I think we're going to leave this part here. This is starting to really fill out these 3 new suburbs, and I'm loving it. I want to, in the next part, finish up filling out this area with some businesses, maybe just work on this park a little bit, and then I want to kind of figure out what we want to do with our water treatment. This is probably not the best solution, but I want to make maybe a water treatment facility or some kind of center somewhere that is totally focused on water intake and our sewage, because right now it's scattered throughout the city a bit haphazardly. But if you have any suggestions of what we should do next or any things I should change from this part, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. I try to post videos every week. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.